There we go. Alright. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bible Unveiled Part 10. But first, my novel came out. So let's just take a look at it real fast. Oh, almost forgot to say, the following is for research purposes as well. Alright, now let's take a look at my novel. Okay, so here is my novel. Lilith, Adam and Eve. The dark, the gray, the light. It's $13.99 for paperback and $4.99 on Kindle. Here's the cover. You want to take a little gander at it. I will be reading the first 17 chapters starting tomorrow. So let's read this. I'll read this. In the beginning, there was the monad, Sophia, and the catastrophic mistake that shattered it into three warring universes. Lilith refused submission and paid the ultimate price, chained inside a Martian birther farm. I need to fix that. It's not a Martian birther farm. Forced to birth the dragon that will one day devour reality. Adam, the reincarnation of Teriel, is hunting the shadow that orchestrated his fall, and is hunting him back. Eve becomes the guiding light to revive Adam as Teriel. Typhon and Leviathan, the serpents older than sin, are waiting to finish what Yalbadeoth started. This is not a retelling of the Genesis account. This is the secret prehistory of our world. Gnostic cosmology weaponized into ancient astronaut science fiction, where Eden was in Lil's palace and the apple was a hard drive that could revive Teriel's memories. From the gardens to a dead Mars to the technocracy of 2030, fractured souls race toward the convergence. The moment all timelines collapse into one final reality. It's a race to either become the monsters who caged it forever, or lead the convergence to a new universe. And somewhere in the static between chapters, the jester is already laughing at the ending you think you know. Warning. This book contains secret knowledge, reincarnation trauma, and a trickster who knows your real name. Welcome to the myth that rewrites you. Alright, so, there you have it. I gotta make a little, I gotta just delete that. I'll do that probably sometime later. But, I hope you're interested in possibly checking this out and buying it. I think for 60 chapters is probably the most, oh man, I mean, it's artistically, poetically, prosely, beautifully written, along with a really great story. I'm not trying to be biased, but I would say that compared to my first novel, Reborn, this is probably about 10 times better. This is the first book I wanted to write, but I didn't think it would make sense without my previous book, so I waited for this one. Well, there's also some other reasons. The first book was also a little bit more simpler, where this one's a lot more complex, and I needed that first book as well to just kind of set the tone and characters and write something that wasn't too complex. So, let's get into the Bible Unveiled. Okay, so right now we're here at the tribe of Dan, say Dam, the tribe of Dam. It's Dan, the Danites. Freaking ads. Okay, so the tribe of Dan, Samson. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Menao, and his wife was barren, and bare not, and the woman bare a son, and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. Judges chapter 13, verse 2 and 24. Okay, then we got Laab. I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong. Okay, and I, behold, I have given with him Aholiab and the son Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan. In the hearts of all that were wise hearted I have put wisdom, that they may make all that I have commanded thee, the tabernacle of the congregation, and the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is thereupon, and all future of the tabernacle. Exodus chapter 31, verses 6 and 7. Hiram, and now I have sent a cunning man, endued with understanding, of Hiram my father's, the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre, skillful to work in gold, and in silver, in brass and iron, and stone, in timber, in purple and blue, and in fine linen, and in crimson. Also, to grave any manner of graving, and to find out every device which shall be put to him with thy cunning men, and with the cunning men of my lord David thy father. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verses 13 and 14. But neither Athizelstan and his son, nor the Montanine Masons serve to account for one of the most salient aspects of later Freemasonry. The fact that it contains a major skein of Judaic tradition filtered through Islam. The corpus of legend central to Freemasonry, including, of course, the building of Solomon's Temple, derives ultimately from the Old Testament material, both canonical and apocryphal, as well as from Judaic and Islamic commentaries upon it. It is worth looking at the most important of these legends, the murder of Hiram Abiff, in some detail, and the Hiram story is rooted in the context of the Old Testament. It figures in two books, 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles. And this right here is the source. Okay, now the Merovingian Jews are descendants of Dan. Okay, so the Merovingian geographical place names and personal names were sometimes Jewish. In the 6th century, a brother of King Clothaire was named Samson, while Myron le Labite or Levite, was a count. Sion and Levite were Merovingians, towns in France. Scholars have even traced Merovingian Salic law back to Judaic law. The Merovingians' tradition of long hair and the name Samson among the royal house would indicate the descendant from Samson, and thus the tribe of Dan. The Merovingian kings were called the long-haired monarchs because they placed great value on their long hair and believed that it gave them strength. One wonders whether Samson was a Merovingian ancestor. Danaus, or in parentheses, a Danite. So, the Arcadians, or Spartans, are the tribe of Dan. So now, the question remains, how do we know the Spartans were the offspring of the tribe of Dan? Aside from the fact that the Spartans wore long hair as a symbol of their power, like Samson, there is a legend written about the son of, I think it's Belus, king of the Spartans, in which is given the story of one named Danaus, who arrived in Greece with his daughters by ship. According to the legend, his daughters called themselves Danaides. They introduced the cult of the mother goddess, which became the established religion of the Arcadians and developed over the years into the worship of Diana. The Spartans so loved their king that they called themselves Danans long before they adopted the name Spartans. Also in the legend is a record of the arrival of colonists from Palestine. Please note, the man who headed the expedition was named Danaus. He may well have been of the tribe of Dan, and thus would have been the progenitor of the ancient Spartans. In Greek myth is the legend of King Belias, one Danaus, who arrives in Greece with his daughters by ship. His daughters are said to have introduced the cult of the mother goddess, which became the established cult of the Arcadians. According to Robert Graves, the Danaus myth records the arrival of the Peloponnesus of colonists from Palestine. Graves states that King Belus, I think that's actually maybe how you say it, is in fact Baal or Bel, or perhaps Belial from the Old Testament. On that particular time, Arcadia was ruled by Spartans. The Spartans placed a special magical significance on their long hair, associated with their great strength. There appears to have been a relationship between the Spartans and the Jews. In the Apocryphal, we read, "It has been found in writing concerning the Spartans and the Jews that they were brethren, and are of the family of Abraham." And here we go, we got basically 1 Maccabees chapter 12, verse 21. The Celts are descendants of the tribe of Dan. There are certain facts that suggest the Celts might have derived from a Jewish tradition from the East. Okay, so we got the Celtic body of the ecclesiastical and civil knowledge of Druidism. Their system had been traced about 800 BC. It is recorded in the Welsh triads that Q synthesized the wisdom of the ancients for those who led the West, Sumer and Mesopotamia. And Psalter of Cashel, it states, the Teuth of Danaan ruled in Ireland for about 2 centuries and were high skilled in architecture and other arts from their long residence in Greece. Okay, so they're talking about how these people were descendants of Danas, the son of Belus, who went with his 50 daughters to Argos, the home of his ancestors, Io. In Irish legends, the Trutha de Danann were considered to be demigods, were said to have possessed a grail like a vessel. These teachers of wisdom were the founders of the Druidic priesthood. Okay, for the outermost part of the earth, we have heard songs of the bards and druids, even glory to the righteous. Hyperboreans. We are perfectly satisfied that the Hyperboreans of the ancients were the ancient Britons. They had but a confused conception as to where these remarkable and particular people lived because, as we have explained before, Dan and the kindred tribes kept their colonies a deep secret, hence their name, Celtai. I mean, if you were speaking, Latin, that would be Celtai, because this combination right here with the A and the E is pronounced I. Like Caesar is actually pronounced Kaiser in Latin. Okay, anyway, enough of a lingual lesson. The Celts and their ancestors were known for tattooing their bodies, which the Antichrist will require of all mankind. But among many of the ancient cultures in the Greeks and Romans encountered, Thracians, the Scythians, the Dacians, the Gauls, the Picts, the Celts, the Britons, to name a few, tattoos were seen as marks of pride. Herodotus tells us that for the Thracians, tattoos were greatly admired, and tattooing among them marked noble birth, and the want of it low birth. And he crushed all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark on their right hand and on their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark and the name of the beast, and the number of his name. Now, this doesn't really say that it's going to be a tattoo, but interestingly, this might be something we're going to check out. Look at that. The 6-pointed star, the mark of the beast. Exactly. What have I been trying to say? We'll take a look at that later if I can. Okay, so let's... How much time? What time are we at? 19. We're gonna go a little bit more. We're gonna go through some of this right here. Alright, so let's consider the locations. Okay, so we got the land of Canaan, / Palestine. Canaan, this evil guy, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without, and Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. And Noah woke up, blah, blah, blah. And Noah woke up from his wine and knew that his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brother. Genesis chapter 9, verses 22 through 25. Canaan is the older name of Palestine. Canaan is listed as the fourth son of Ham. Okay, so to make a story short, and I'll probably be going over this sometime again. I think I've been over it before, but just to refresh people's memory. Okay, so basically what happened during that whole thing with Canaan, or with Ham, is that Ham slept with Noah's wife, or basically Ham slept with his mother, and she had Canaan. You know, so that's why Canaan was cursed. Okay? Alright, so I'll just leave it there, and I know you gotta kind of look into things a little bit more in order to understand that story, because they do try to hide that. Okay, so now we got Palestine. The root words of Palestine are Peleus and Heth. Pelesip, Heth, a region of Syria, Palestinia, Palestine, Philistine. Strong's Ordinance, the Hebrew and Chaldee Dictionary. Okay, so Heth is the son of Canaan, alright? And Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, in Heth, Genesis chapter 10:15. Calais, maybe? In the Grell tradition of Botticelli's time, the Arcadian sea lord Pallas was manifest in King Pallas. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm having trouble. The Fisher King is sometimes Pallas, from Pallas, the ancient Bastille, Neptunus of the Merovingian ancestry. Okay, and there's the reference right there. So this is what we're getting. Okay, so Palestine equals and also phallus or phallus, a suffix of adjectives of Greek or Latin origin, meaning or pertaining to, of the nature of, made, or like, at Rome. Mel Palles was sometimes spoken of accordance in some respect to Pan. The fire was looked upon as the purifier, and in April every year at the Feast of Pails, both men and cattle for this purpose were made to pass through fire. At Selene, Hermes was worshipped by the name of Thales, derived from Phallos, and in the image of a phallic stone. Interesting. I didn't think Hermes was kind of like related to all that. More usually, his phallic image was a herm. Okay, makes sense now. Originally a stone heap. Okay, then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestina. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Exodus chapter 15, verse 1, 14, and 15. Shall melt away. So now let's look at the tribe of Dan position in the camp of the wilderness. Okay. Okay, so Dan shall be on the north side by their armies, and the captain of the children of Dan shall be Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, in Numbers chapter 2, 25a. Okay, so Dan became the very top evil doing. He was placed in the north, this being the region of darkness and evil. Alright. Territories of Dan in the land of Israel by the sea. Why did Dan remain in ships? Judges chapter 5, verse 17. Dan was the last of the tribes to receive his portion, which was the smallest of the 12. It had a line of seacoast, which seems to have led the tribes to engage in fishing and commerce. Okay. In the sides of the north. Okay, so how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down from the ground? Which, okay, so this Bible verse right here in Isaiah chapter 14, 12, and 13, or verses 12 and 13, that talk about basically what some people refer to as the fall of Lucifer. But let's see what this talks about. Okay, so part of the tribe of Dan, unable to secure its inheritance, migrated north and captured Laish, renaming it Dan. Located on the 33rd degree. Okay, this is where the 33rd degree stuff probably comes from. Both latitude and longitude according to the Paris zero meridian. Prior to the adoption of the 1884 of Greenwich, as the international zero meridian, each country made use of its own. The French zero meridian is still used on the official maps, produced by the Institute of Geographique and National. Cassini's meridian arc is still marked upon French maps as the Paris zero. Okay, so note, using the Greenwich zero meridian. Okay, using the Greenwich zero meridian, the northern territory of Dan lies at 35.5 degrees longitude. However, if the Paris zero meridian is used, having a 2.5 difference from Greenwich, Dan is found to lie at the 33rd degree longitude and latitude. Interesting there. And it's located at Keter, the first sephira of the Kabbalistic tree of life. Okay, the paradoxal theme park will be marked upon a special map of the spiritual geography of the Holy Land, with sacred sites and the alignments between them, upon which a diagram of the Kabbalistic tree of life is traced, marking 10 such sites over the whole land of Israel. Note, planetary positions set out upon the tree of life reveal the first sephira, Keter, as the One. Ancient myths and rites present Saturn as the God, One, the first king, and the all-encompassing heaven man. In Chevalier, page 734, Pan / Saturn is revealed as the All. This would place the Peneus Dan area in the Keter position. Okay. Some of these sources that have links, I think I'm going to be checking them out a little bit. Okay, what do we got? Okay, we got a lot to go over, but I'm going to finish this part. Or should I? Okay. How long is this? Okay, it's been 30 minutes. I'm going to stop right here. I hope you found this interesting. Like I said, do you want to read more of this as I go over? You got questions? You wanted to start a discussion? Please comment. But we've just kind of hit the top of this. I'm trying to figure out what I want to title this part. I'm gonna title it Dan, the Spartans, and the Celts. And Freemasonry. And, well, I'll just put in Freemasonry. Yeah. So, because one of the things I did find interesting in this is how it's located on the 33rd degree. Alright? Or maybe that's what I'll put, the 33rd degree. The tribe of Dan, the Spartans, Celts, and the 33rd degree. There we go. That'll make an interesting title, hopefully. Anyway, so the next time we're going to be right here on the city of Dan, chronologically, and history of Baal Pan worship. Okay, so we're going to go over that. Alright, this is just getting more and more interesting, isn't it? So, I'll see you next time. I'm going to do my outro. I hope you're interested, and I hope you buy my novel. I would appreciate it. I believe it's really, really good. I'm going to read the first 17 chapters on YouTube. So, yeah, I mean, if you seem iffy about it, I hope that reading those 17 chapters will persuade you to actually buy it. But until then, I am going to I will see you all next Monday, and that, I believe, will be a poem, actually. So, until my next poem. And then, let's see here. Okay, so during the week of Christmas, which I think is the week after next, I won't post a video on Monday, and I won't do it the same the following week on Monday. I will do it on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So I will do 2 videos that week, but I'm going to wait for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Okay? So until then, I'll see you guys next Monday. And this has been a Tribe of Dan, Spartan, Celtic, 33 degree production by the Jester, the wearer of your crown of fools, and the king of the illusion. And so I will see you all later. Peace out, everybody.